العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Today, inshallah, we're going to be taking the second Imam in our series of the four Imams of the Madhahib. And before we begin, I want to start off with a hadith. Okay, and the reason why is because this hadith is going to lead us to the Imam of today. It's narrated in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad and in Tirmidhi from the hadith of Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu. In this hadith it says that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, there's going to come a time where the people are beating the sides of camels, searching for knowledge. Yani this means they're going to be traveling far and wide in search of what? Knowledge. And they're not going to find any scholar that is more knowledgeable than the scholar of Medina. Many of the ulama, first off, some scholars they weaken the hadith, but many authenticated it. Many of the ulama they said that this hadith is in reference to Imam Malik. Imam Malik. That the Prophet ﷺ, he's telling us about the coming of Imam Malik. ويروى عن ابن عيينة he says كنت أقول سعيد ibn Musayyib. Ibn Uyayna, a great scholar of Mecca, he said, I used to think this hadith is talking about Sa'id ibn Musayyib. But then I realized that during his time there were two other scholars equal to him. Until a time came where I said, no, it must be Malik. لم يبقى له نذير بالمدينة. Why? Because nobody in Medina remains equal to him. So the hadith, it has to be talking about Imam Malik. طيب. Now, if just to get a little technical real quick, the hadith is not actually the words of the Prophet ﷺ. It's the words of Abu Hurairah. طيب. The Prophet ﷺ, he didn't say these words specifically. It's from who? Abu Hurairah. But we still say that this information is from the Prophet ﷺ. Why? Is this something that Abu Hurairah could come up with? Do you think he just made this up? No, he had to get that information from someone, right? So, even though the words, the meaning is from Abu Hurairah, but it's as if the Prophet ﷺ said it, because he took the information from him. Now, this Imam, he is the great Imam Malik. al-Dhahabi said about him, he is Shaykhul Islam. He is the Shaykh of Islam. The Hujjah of the Ummah, the proof of the Ummah. The Imam of Darul Hijrah. Where is Darul Hijrah? Medina. Whenever you hear Darul Hijrah, that means Medina. The place of Hijrah, where the Muslims made Hijrah to. Okay? His kunya is Abu Abdullah. But his actual name is Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik ibn Abi Amir al-Himyari al-Asbahi. Okay? Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik. So his father is Anas ibn Malik. Right? Now, before we get confused, it's not the actual Anas ibn Malik, the Sahabi. Okay? That's not who his father was. His father happens to have the same name as Anas ibn Malik, Khadim Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the servant of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alright? His father was also a great scholar. Anas, his father was a great scholar. And his grandfather, Malik, was also a great scholar. In fact, it's mentioned that his grandfather, Malik, took knowledge from Umar ibn Khattab, Talha, Aisha, and many other Sahaba. He was a tabi'i. And he was one of the 4 men who buried and prayed over Uthman ibn Affan. As you all know, Uthman ibn Affan was murdered. He was assassinated. During his time, there was a lot of trouble. And so, the Muslims couldn't even give him a proper burial. These 4 had to take care of his burial themselves. And Imam Malik's grandfather is one of those four who buried and prayed over Uthman ibn Affan. Then there is his great-grandfather, Abu Amr. Abu Amr, it's said that he's a Sahabi. Okay? He was a Sahabi, and he himself said, there was not one battle that I missed along with the Prophet ﷺ except for the battle of Badr. That was his great-grandfather. So you can see the type of family that Imam Malik comes from. Ulama, and Mujahideen, and Sahaba. Yes?
Isn't his father from Medina?
His father's from Medina, yes. From Himyari, a Yemeni tribe. His family's originally from Yemen. Imam Malik was born in the year 93 after Hijrah. Who remembers when Abu Hanifa was born? Last week we mentioned. Anybody else? What about the grown-ups? Okay, go ahead. 80 after Hijrah. Okay. Imam Malik was born in 93 after Hijrah. Okay, so he came second. Imam Malik, he passed away during the same year as Anas ibn Malik. SubhanAllah, we're all getting confused now. He's not the son of Anas ibn Malik, but he died during the same, he was born the same year that Anas ibn Malik, the Sahabi, died. Okay? Imam Malik was a tall man. He was a big man. His body was very well built. He had a big beard, a white beard. And he was a very handsome person. قال عيسى بن عمر ما رأيت بياض قط أحسن من وجه مالك وكان عظيم اللحية عريضها. Isa ibn Umar, he said, I never saw anyone with a more handsome face nor nicer skin than Imam Malik. And he used to have a very large beard. Okay, it's mentioned his beard used to come out to his chest. Alright? al-Dhahabi, قال الذهبي قال معن بن عيسى والواقدي ومحمد بن الضحاك. And this is one of the غرائب, the strange things that you'll find in the tarjuma, the biography of Imam Malik. They said, حملت بمالك أمه 3 سنين ومعن بن عيسى من أثبت أصحاب مالك. These three, Ma'an and al-Waqidi and Muhammad ibn Dhahaq, they said, Imam Malik's mother carried him in pregnancy for 3 years. For what? For 3 years. Now, if we were relying on just one person who said this, we would just say, oh no, that's not true, get rid of that, get rid of that. But one of the people who said this was Ma'an ibn Isa, his closest student. Imam Malik's closest student. Someone who knew him very well. He said Imam Malik, his mother, carried him while she was pregnant for how long? 3 years. Yani, by the time he was born, he already had teeth. This is not a normal thing. It's not a normal thing. But it's happened to some people throughout history. But that's not what a normal pregnancy lasts. Right? Normal pregnancy is like 9 months. Or give or take, depending on the woman. But this is one of the strange things that is captured in history. Okay? Now, in fact, Imam Malik himself, he reported this. Okay? It says, now Muhammad ibn Umar, he also says, سمعت Malik, I heard Malik ibn Anas say, قد يكون الحمل سنتين أو أكثر. Pregnancy sometimes in a strange way, yani, may last longer than 9 months. May go a year, it may go 2 years. It depends. Okay? And I know someone who was carried for more than 2 years. Talking about himself. Right? Now, this great Imam, he grew up in a home which was well off. Yani his family had some money. Okay? He experienced a comfort since he was a child. And yani the blessings they showed on him. Alright? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only added more blessings to him, as we're going to see. Okay? But there was a time in his life where he went through some struggles. And this had to do with his seeking of knowledge. There came a time where Imam Malik, he devoted himself to seeking knowledge so much that he neglected livelihood. And as a result of that, even his daughter used to cry due to hunger. Because he was seeking knowledge so much, he couldn't work. And so his livelihood became opposite of what he grew up with. To the point where he had to begin to sell much of the things he owned. Right? And he even broke down his roof and sold the wood, just so they can sustain themselves. Okay? But later on in his life, the world, the dunya, came back to him, as we're going to see. Okay? Imam Malik, he used to love to eat the good things. He used to love to eat expensive foods. Okay? He used to love to eat meat, different fruits. He loved to wear new clothing, especially the white thobe. Okay? And in his home, he had the nice furniture. His inside of the home looked nice. Which shows you what? Being a Muslim doesn't mean that you neglect the dunya. Right? Some people, they have this messed up understanding, oh, zuhud, I'm going to be a zahid. I'm just going to divorce the entire dunya. I'm not going to work. This is not what it means to be a good Muslim. A Muslim means you have balance. Right? You get your share of the dunya, but you don't neglect your akhirah as well. Seek knowledge. Right? Do those things which get you close to Allah, but don't neglect your schools, your career, all of these things. There needs to be a balance. In the beginning, Imam Malik, he used to be known as Akhul Nadr, the brother of Nadr. Because Imam Malik was a nobody, he was not known at the time. But his brother was known. So people used to call him the brother of Nadr. Okay? He had an older brother. But Imam Malik, his desire of knowledge pushed him so much that a time came where they used to say about his brother, Akhu Malik. It switched. Now, people forgot about his brother. And so they used to say about his brother, that's the brother of Malik. Because now Imam Malik was something. Okay? Now, a large part of the tarbiyah, okay, of Imam Malik was due to his parents. Imam Malik himself, he says, I had a brother the same age of Ibn Shihab. One day my father put a question to us. The father gave them a question. And my brother was right and I was wrong. My father said to me, have the birds distracted you from the journey of knowledge? Because he used to play with birds. So Imam Malik got pissed off. He got upset. So he said, I went and I devoted myself to my Shaykh Ibn Hurmuz for 7 years, and I did not go to anyone else. I used to put some dates, some timr, in my sleeve, and I would go to the Shaykh's house and give it to his children. And I would tell them, if anyone comes to see the Shaykh, tell them he's not here. Because he wants alone time with the Shaykh to learn. Private studies, one-on-one. And this is how he used to go and seek knowledge, and this is how he became someone. Okay? But the most important person in the life of Imam Malik, the most important person in terms of his tarbiyah and raising him, was none other than his mother. After memorizing the Quran, he began to focus on memorizing hadith. And he told his mother that he wanted to go and study. So she would dress him up in the nice clothing, put on a thobe, and she would wrap his imamah for him, his turban. And she would say to him, go to Rabi'ah and learn from his adab, then his knowledge. Right? This was the mother of Imam Malik. She's the one that would push him. And she told him, go to Rabi'ah al-Ra'i, or Rabi'ah ibn Abdurrahman, and learn from him. And this is a common denominator that we're going to see. A common thing in the tarjuma of these imams. Okay? Pay close attention to this, especially the sisters. Imam Malik sana'atu ummu. His mother is the one that made him who he is. And this was the case with many of the ai''imah. She sent him to Rabi'ah. Rabi'ah himself, sana'atu ummu. His mother is the one that raised him. He was an orphan when he was a child. He didn't know his father. His father died before he can meet him. Rabi'ah ibn Ra'i was a dark-skinned boy, just like all of you. For some reason, the area he used to live in, the kids didn't like to play with him. And the mother saw this, and she could tell. And she would say to him, "O Rabi'ah, O my son, do not be upset. مَا خُلِقْنَا لِلَّعْبِ. We have not been created to play around and waste time. It's not what we're created for anyways. If you want to be someone, and if you want the people to sit at your feet and wish to be you, go seek knowledge." And she pushed him to seek knowledge until he became the mufti of his time. And whenever he held a class, nobody spoke. He's the one that would speak. People wished to be him. The khulafa, the leaders of government, used to come and learn from him. Imam al-Bukhari. You all know who Imam al-Bukhari is. He didn't have a father either. His mother's the one that shaped him and raised him to be who he was. Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala. His mother used to make dua at night. Why? Because Imam al-Bukhari, when he was young, he went blind. He couldn't see. So his mother would stay up at night begging Allah until she saw a dream of Ibrahim alayhi salam, who came to her and said, "Allah has returned the sight of your son." And so she checked and it was true. Imam al-Bukhari, you all know who he turned out to be. She took him for Hajj and she left him in Mecca so he can learn there. And look at who he became. A single mother raised him. Imam Ahmed and Imam Shaafi'ee, same thing.
Imam Ahmed, wasn't he Hindi before he became a Muslim?
No. So all of these Imams, what is the common thing we find in their biography? That they were raised by single mothers. Okay? Now as for the scholarly praise, okay, what the people said about Imam Malik. Abdullah ibn Mubarak قال ما رأيت رجلا ارتفع مثل مالك ibn Anas ليس له كثير الصلاة ولا صيام إلا أن تكون له صريرة. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, one of his students, said about him, "I have not seen anyone be held in such high esteem like Imam Malik. He didn't used to have too much salat or too much siyam, yani that made him stand out. He looked like a normal person. But he had those secret deeds with Allah. In private, he used to worship Allah. But when you see him in public, nothing special. He prays just like everybody prays. He fasts just like everybody fasts. But it's those secret, those private good deeds that you do that raise you in the dunya and in the akhirah." Imam al-Shafi'i, he said about him, إِذَا ذُكِرَ الْعُلَمَاء فَمَالِكُنَ النَّجْمُ وَمَالِكْ حُجَّةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى خَلْقِهِ بَعْدَ التَّابِعِينَ. If Malik is mentioned amongst the scholars, then he's the bright star. He's the shining star. You could mention all the scholars in the world, but the one that is shining and stands out is Imam Malik. وروي عن عبد السلام ابن عاصم أنه قال قلت لأحمد بن حنبل الرجل يريد حفظ الحديث فحديث من يحفظ قال حديث مالك بن أنس. Someone asked Ahmed ibn Hanbal, someone wants to memorize hadith. Whose hadith should he mention? Imam Ahmed said he should memorize the hadith of Malik. The hadith of who? Malik ibn Anas. طيب. Why? Imam Malik was very strict when it came to hadith. Narrating hadith, who he takes and learns hadith from, and who he gives hadith to, very careful and very strict. Okay? So if Imam Malik, he narrates a hadith, you can be sure that it's going to be reliable. That's going to be authentic. Alright? And that's why Imam Shafi'i, he would also say, وَكَانَ مَالِكْ إِذَا شَكَّ فِي بَعْدَ الْحَدِيثِ طَرَحَهُ كُلُّ. Imam Malik, if he ever had any shak, any doubt in a hadith, was it a ya or a ta, something like this, he just leave the whole hadith, so he doesn't make a mistake. He used to pick the hadith carefully. If he saw someone, a teacher he wants to learn from, telling hadith while he's standing, he did not take hadith from him. Because he wants to respect the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He doesn't want to take it while someone's standing. طيب. وأخرج البخاري عن يحيى بن سعيد القطان أنه قال مالك أمير المؤمنين في الحديث. They used to say Imam Malik is the leader of the believers in hadith. And Abi Qilaba, he said, كان مالك أحفظ أحلى زمانه. Abi Qilaba, he said, Imam Malik is the greatest memorizer in his time, period. Nobody is equal to him. And Ibn Mahdi, he said, ما رأيت أعقل من مالك. I've never seen anyone more intelligent than Imam Malik. Imam Malik, just like last week we mentioned Abu Hanifa, these were intelligent people. They were geniuses. Okay? It makes one think, you know, we have a backwards kind of thinking nowadays. When you have children and parents, they want to push them to the ulum that are not deeniyah. This child, he's very smart, mashallah. Okay, I'm going to push him to be a doctor. This one is smart. Okay, I'm going to push him to be an engineer. But the one who's failing all his classes, oh, okay, maybe he can be a sheikh. Seeking knowledge is not something that's a joke. We need intelligent people. Seeking ilm, shar'i, requires intelligence. It requires diligence. It requires hard work. It requires a bright mind. That's why these imams succeeded in it, because they were intelligent people. Right? As for his teachers, he studied under many shuyukh. Okay, one of those was Nafi', the freed servant of Abdullah ibn Umar. Okay, he studied under Nafi'. And Malik, he says, I used to come to Nafi' for half a day, as long as the tree shaded me from the sun. Remember, they're in Medina, desert, hot. Okay? I would wait for him to come out of his home. So Imam Malik, as a young boy, goes to Nafi''s house and sits outside, waiting for the sheikh to come out. When he came out, I left him alone for a time, like I didn't notice him. Then I would turn to him and greet him, and then leave him again. Say Assalamu alaikum, then give him some time again. Then I would say to him, what did Ibn Umar say about this and that? And he would answer me. Then I would leave him because he was prone to get irritable. Okay? His teacher, Nafi', was someone who used to get upset pretty quick. You gotta know something, you guys. Not every sheikh is the same. People have different personalities. It's upon the student to know the personality of his sheikh. What does his sheikh like and does not like? When does the sheikh like that I come to him? When does he like that I don't come to him? Right? And Imam Malik was very smart in this regards. Look at how he used to seek knowledge from Nafi', little by little. Knowing the right time, giving him a space. Right? So one needs to plan how they're going to take knowledge from their shuyukh. And subhanAllah, you find this amongst many ulama. Take for example, Sulaiman ibn Mihran, al-A'mash. Al-A'mash, A'mash means blind. Okay, he has some trouble with his eyesight. His personality was something gharib, unique. He hated people. Yet he was the qari, the hafidh, the faqih, the muhaddith of Kufa. Everybody used to travel to him to take knowledge, but he hates everybody. He doesn't want to deal with anyone. He needs his space. So how did the students used to take knowledge from him? They used to be very intelligent. Once, Al-A'mash, he went to a janazah, to a funeral. And one of his students saw him. After the funeral was over, the student took a hold of the A'mash and said, Sheikh, I'm going to walk you home. So he said, okay, because he needs a guide anyways, he's blind. And this student walked with him out of the city. And then he said to him, Ya Sheikh, do you know where we are? He said, where are we? He said, we are in the middle of the desert. Wallahi, I'm going to leave you here if you do not give me 50 hadith. You think Amish has a choice? He has to do it now, because he can't get back home by himself. So he gives him 50 ahadith. And then the boy, after he wrote it down, he put the lawha, yani the slate here, and he walked back into the city. Right when they got into the city, he gave his notes to a friend. And then walked A'mash home. When A'mash realized and felt where he was familiar, he grabbed the student. And he said, grab this liar, grab this liar. He stole from me. And the student said, Ya Shaykh, I don't have anything on me. I gave it to someone a long time ago. And so Al-Amash said, everything I told you was a lie. All the hadith I told you was a lie. He said, you lying on hadith, come on. He said, okay, you're right. It wasn't a lie. So the student got away with it. People have to know how to seek knowledge from their mashayikh, you guys. And this is how Imam Malik was with Nafi'. Okay? He also studied with Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri, one of his greatest shuyukh and teachers. Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri, Imam Malik, he says, az-Zuhri visited us. And we went to see him along with Rabi'a. He gave us about 40 hadith. Then we came back the next day. He said, go get a book so I can give you hadith from that. Has there been anyone here who has memorized what I've already given him? Rabi'a pointed to Imam Malik and said, this one already memorized it. Yani yesterday, 40 hadith. He came back the next day, already memorized those 40. And so he repeated it to his shaykh. Another time, as Malik says, I was at the Eid prayer. And I said to myself, today Ibn Shihab is not busy. SubhanAllah, look at how he's thinking. The day where the shaykh has a day off. Nobody's going to be at the shaykh's house. He said, today Ibn Shihab is not busy. So I'm going to go to him. So he left after the Eid Salah and he went to the home of Ibn Shihab. Ibn Shihab let him come in. Then he said to him, have you ate any food yet? Imam Malik said no. So he put food in front of him and said, eat. Imam Malik said, I am not in need for this. Imam Malik, I will tell you something, he is hungry. But he's not hungry for food. What is he hungry for? For knowledge. He's hungry for hadith. So he tells him, I want hadith. So Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri gives him 40 hadith. Imam Malik is writing it. After the 40 hadith is written, he says, give me more. Ibn Shihab says, first memorize these 40. Imam Malik says, I've already memorized them. As he's writing them, he's memorizing them. And so Ibn Shihab takes his papers away and says, recite. And so he repeats those 40 hadith from memory. He repeats all those 40 hadith from memory. And Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri says, get up. You are one of the vessels of knowledge. You're going to be something. As for his students, Imam Malik's students, who are they? Imam Malik, okay, one of the ulama, al-Khatib al-Baghdadi, he put together a book on the students of Imam Malik. And in that book, he lists 1,300 students. But al-Khatib al-Baghdadi missed plenty. There's many more. So he had thousands of students, but we'll mention a few here. Okay? From them are some of his own teachers. Imam Malik, when he grew up, some of his teachers came to learn from him because of who he became, the knowledge that he had. So this Ibn Shihab az-Zuhri we just mentioned also learned from Imam Malik. Yahya ibn Abi Kathir. And then those who were contemporary to him, like Abu Hanifa, also took some knowledge from Imam Malik. Al-Awza'i, Ibn Uyayna, Ibn Ulayya, and others. But probably the biggest student that he had, the most well-known student that he had, was none other than Imam Shaafi'ee. So we've said so far Abu Hanifa, then Imam Malik, right? Next will be Imam Shaafi'ee. Okay? And the strange thing is, these four ulama, each one learned from the other. Imam Ahmad, he learned from Imam Shaafi'ee. Imam Shaafi'ee learned from Imam Malik. Imam Malik also took knowledge from Abu Hanifa. Now, when we talk about his student Imam Shaafi'ee, this leads us to talk about another thing about Imam Malik, and that is his hayba. Imam Malik's personality was such that people they respected him so much that they feared him. Yani there's this fear and respect that they had of him. This energy that he had. Okay, when Imam al-Shaafi'ee, who lived in Mecca, wanted to go to Medina to learn from Imam Malik, he had the Amir, the governor of Mecca, write him a letter to take to the governor of Medina to do shafa'ah for him. Okay? So he took the letter, went to Medina, and he gave it to the governor of Medina. And in that letter it says, we want Imam al-Shafi'i, this boy Shafi'i, to be a student of Imam Malik. Please talk to Imam Malik for us. This governor shook out of fear. And he said, Wallahi, if you told me to move the mountains, it would be easier than to talk to Imam Malik. Who's saying this? The governor of Medina. Afraid to go to Imam Malik to talk to him. Imam Malik was such a powerful figure and personality that the people used to have such respect and fear for him. So they took it to Imam Malik. But Imam Malik, he doesn't care about this paper. He looks at Imam al-Shafi'i and he sees something in him. And he asks him, have you memorized the book of Allah? He says, yes. Have you memorized the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? He says, yes. And he continues to ask him, have you memorized this? Have you memorized this? Yes, yes. Until he goes, go and memorize the Muwatta, which is Imam Malik's own book. He says, I have memorized it better than its author. Imam al-Shafi'i says what? I've already memorized it better than the author. And so he recites the entire book to Imam Malik. And so Imam Malik takes him as his student. This is how Imam al-Shafi'i became the student of Imam Malik. But this was one of the ways or one of the styles of Imam Malik. He just didn't take anyone. Alright? So this leads us also to look at his teaching style. And his etiquettes when he gave fatwa or answers to questions. al-Dhahabi said, وطلب مالك العلم وهو ابن بضع عشر سنة وتأهل للفتية وجلس للإفادة وله 21 سنة. al-Dhahabi says Malik began to seek knowledge when he was young, around 13. He became qualified to give fatwa when he was 21. He became qualified to give fatwa when he was 21. It doesn't mean he was giving fatwa at that age, but it means he was qualified at that time. But he didn't give fatwa until he was much older. Okay? Now, he himself, he says, I did not sit to teach and to give fatwa until 70 sheikhs from the people of knowledge testified that I was ready to do so. وقال معن ابن عيسى كان مالك ibn Anas إذا أراد أن يجلس للحديث اغتسل وتبخر وتطيب فإذا رفع أحد صوته في مجلسه زجره. قال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا ترفعوا أصواتكم فوق صوت النبي. It said whenever Malik used to sit down to teach hadith, he would first go make ghusl, take a shower. He would use the bukhur and put on something nice. Then he would begin to recite hadith. This is his teaching style and how he used to respect the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And if someone spoke in his majlis, he would reprimand him and then read the ayah in the Quran, O you who believe, do not raise your voice above the voice of the Nabi. Is the Prophet ﷺ alive at this time? No, but his hadith is being taught. So raising your voice over the hadith is like raising your voice over the voice of the Prophet ﷺ. This is how he used to honor and respect the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and he used to treat it as such. Another time, the ruler of Medina came to Imam Malik. Or he called Imam Malik to come to him. So Imam Malik came. And he brought out his two sons, Harun and Musa. And he told them, go and learn or listen to Imam Malik. Imam Malik did not recite any ahadith in that gathering. And when asked, he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, al-ilmu yu'ta ahlahu. O Amir al-Mu'mineen, ilm, it does not come to you. You have to come to ilm. You have to make that effort. This is the respect and the honor he gave the ilm of the Prophet ﷺ. This is the inheritance of Rasulullah ﷺ. You go to the knowledge, you go seek it out. Don't expect it to just fall in your lap. And so, the ruler of Medina, he said, Sadaqt, you're right. So he told his sons, you go to the majlis of Imam Malik. So they went to the majlis of Imam Malik with their mu'addib, okay, with their tutor. And when they went to the majlis, the tutor said, okay Malik, recite to us. Imam Malik didn't recite. Why? Because it was not his style of teaching. This was not from the manhaj or the madhab of Ahlul Madinah. Ahlul Madinah, the scholars there, they did not used to teach the student from themselves. The student reads to the teacher. And the teacher corrects them if they get anything wrong. So you go to the teacher with the book of hadith and you recite. And if he's quiet, that means what you're saying is correct. If he speaks up, he's going to correct you. But the teachers in Medina, their style was not that they teach, that they recite the hadith. The student has to recite. So when this tutor said, recite to us, Imam Malik didn't. So he got upset. He went back to the governor, okay, or to the Amir. And he said, now Imam Malik is saying, he's not going to recite to us, he wants us to recite. So the Amir calls Imam Malik back. Okay, and he asks him, why? And so Imam Malik, he said, Sami'tu ibn Shihab, I heard my teacher Ibn Shihab say, this ilm, this knowledge, we gathered it, we learned it in the Rawdah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the masjid of the Prophet. And we gathered it from men. Of them are Sa'id ibn Musayyib, wa Abu Salama, wa Urwa, wa al-Qasim, wa Salim, and he mentioned many ulama. Until Imam Malik said, all of these scholars, the people used to read to them, they did not used to read. And all of these scholars are from the people of Medina. طيب فقال في هؤلاء قدوة سيروا إليه فاقرأوا عليه ففعلوا. And so he told his sons, these are our examples. Go back to Imam Malik and you read to him. And you read to him. طيب. So from this we learn two things from the style of teaching of Imam Malik. One is that he never used to belittle knowledge, where he used to go to the people and teach them. No. You come to him. And number two, when you come to him, you make the effort and read to him. This was his style. But unfortunately, not all the students knew this. What if you're someone from a different town, a different city, and you come to learn from Imam Malik and you don't know this? What happens then? And this happened to someone before. A young boy by the name of Hisham ibn Ammar. Hisham ibn Ammar was a young boy who wanted to learn and go seek knowledge. His father owned 2 houses. And so what his father did is he sold one of those houses and he gave all the money to his son and told him, go and learn from Imam Malik in Medina. And so this boy, he came all the way to Medina from a different country. And when he came to the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ and to the majlis of Imam Malik, while the student was reading hadith to Imam Malik, and this boy was in the majlis, the boy stood up. Young boy, 10, 11, doesn't know the adab yet, how he's supposed to be in the majlis of Imam Malik. He stood up and he said, Ya Imam, hadithni, tell me hadith. He's very eager to learn. So Imam Malik told him, you recite, and if you make a mistake, we'll correct you. طيب, some minutes went by. The boy stood up again. Ya Imam Malik, hadithni. He said, you read, and if you make a mistake, we will correct you. A third time he does it. Ya Imam, hadithni. So Imam Malik says, Qum ya ghulam, get up. And he takes out his whip and beats him 15 times. He hits him 15 times with the whip. And so this young boy, he begins to cry. He begins to cry. So Imam Malik, he begins to feel a little sad now. I didn't mean to make him cry. So he says to him, please forgive me. Samihni. He says, I do not forgive you. The young boy says what? I do not forgive you. But this young boy, 10, 11 years old, he's thinking like a grown man. There's a reason why he's saying this. He says, I do not forgive you. Yani, I'm going to hold this against you Yawm al-Qiyamah. Unless you give me hadith. And so Imam Malik tells him 15 hadith. For every whip you gave me, give me a hadith. So he gives him 15 hadith. And so he says at the end, Ya Imam, zid fi al-darb wa zid fi al-hadith. Oh Imam, hit me again and give me more hadith. This was how these young children were, seeking knowledge, wanting it. And this young boy, Hisham ibn Ammar, you know who he goes on to become? The Shaykh of Imam al-Bukhari. This is who he becomes later on in life. These are some of his students, okay? Now, Khalid ibn Khaddash, he says, قدمت على مالك. I came to Malik. بأربعين مسألة, with 40 questions that I have. He came with 40 questions to ask Imam Malik. فما أجابني منها إلا في 5 مسائل. And he did not answer me except 5 of those questions. In other words, 35 questions, Imam Malik, he said, لا أدري, I don't know. But this teaches us something, you guys. Imam Malik being the Imam or the Shaykh of Islam at that time, the greatest memorizer of that time, it didn't prohibit him, it didn't force him or keep him from being humble. It didn't stop him from being humble. If he didn't know something, he was not shy to say, I don't know. Unfortunately today, everyone knows when they don't know. Everyone speaks when they should not be speaking. They should be keeping quiet. And especially when it comes to the Sharia. Unfortunately, we have respect for other ulum. You're not a doctor, don't speak on tib. Don't speak on medicine. You're not this, don't speak on that. Are you a specialist in this? No, then be quiet. But when it comes to Sharia, everyone speaks, everyone and their mothers. Imam Malik, he used to teach his students, it is okay to say, La adri, I don't know. And this plays out many times in his life. On another occasion, as Ibn Mahdi he mentions, a man traveled on a 6-month journey from Al-Maghrib, from Morocco or Spain, that area, all the way to Medina. 6 months, you guys. They don't have cars, they don't have trains, no airplanes, none of this. Walking and camel. That's 6 months. Or boat sometimes, yeah. Okay? And so this man, he comes and he has some questions for Imam Malik. He came specifically for Imam Malik. And again, Imam Malik, to majority of his questions, says, La adri, I don't know. So the man says, what am I supposed to go back and tell my people? I came all this way just for you. He said, go back to them and tell them, Imam Malik said, La adri, I don't know. So this is something that we should all practice. Okay? Now Imam Malik, he went through some trials during the end of his life. Okay? During the Khilafah of Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, there was some issues going on. Okay? What happened here? There was some fitna that was starting during this time. And some political groups were trying to revolt. Okay? And so someone came and asked Imam Malik a question. But this question got him in trouble. Okay? Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, even though he was the furthest person away from going into the fitna, he was not involved in this stuff, but the fitna, it found him. Okay, it came to him. Someone came to Imam Malik and asked him a question. The question was, if a man is forced to divorce his wife, is that divorce, does it count? What do you guys say? If someone puts a gun to your head and tells you, divorce your wife, and you say, okay, I divorce her, because you're under threat of death, is that divorce count? No, it doesn't. Okay? And this is what Imam Malik said. Imam Malik, he quoted the hadith. It is not upon the one who was forced, yani that divorce does not go through. Okay? Imam Malik is answering a fiqh question. That's all he's thinking about. But some people took this and used it in a political way. Why and how? During this time, yani Abu Ja'far al-Mansur was someone who took a lot of the bay'ah by force, by ikrah. He forced people to give him allegiance by force. طيب? So when people took this fatwa from Imam Malik, they put a political spin to it. They said what Imam Malik means by the forced one who divorces his wife does not count, is the one who's forced for bay'ah, that bay'ah doesn't count. Does that make sense? Okay, look. People were given the bay'ah by force. Does that bay'ah count? Yes or no? If you're being forced, I'm going to kill you, or you give me bay'ah. Huh? No, right? Just like it doesn't count if the person says that about divorce. Make sense? So they put that spin on the hadith, on the fatwa, and they said, Imam Malik said, our bay'ah to you is no good. We can revolt against you. Okay? So what happened here? The governor of Medina called Imam Malik and told him, do not speak of this hadith. Don't tell people this hadith. Imam Malik is an alim. He needs to answer questions, you guys. He has to teach the people. He's not going to hide knowledge. And he is not calling the people to make khuruj, to fight the leader. He's only answering a question. طيب? So what happens? He goes back to his normal life. And when he's given a class, the governor sent a spy to sit in that class and to ask the question again about divorcing your wife under pressure. And when that person asked, Imam Malik gave the same answer. The divorce doesn't count. And this time, Imam Malik was taken and was tortured. He was lashed in public in Medina. He was whipped many times until his arm was dislocated out of its socket and he fainted. And then what they did after that was they shaved his beard off. This was one of the ways they punished people back then. They shaved his beard off and they put him on a donkey and paraded him around Medina. And the Amir, the governor of Medina, said, make sure everyone knows who this man is. And so Imam Malik was on this donkey going around saying, the ones who know me, they know me. And if you don't know me, I'm Malik ibn Anas, and the divorced one who's under pressure does not count. He continued to say that until the Emir said, we need to get rid of this guy. Get him off that donkey and put him away. So this is the struggle that Imam Malik he went through towards the end of his life. Now as we end, I want to mention that one of the most important works of hadith, the most important book of hadith we have today, one of them is written by this great Imam. He wrote his kitab al-Muwatta, the Muwatta of Imam Malik. He is the author. Okay? And we still have it in perfect print today. Exactly how it was when he wrote it in the year 100 something Hijri. Okay? And why did he call it Muwatta? Imam Malik, he says, I was struggling for a long time to come up with a title for my book. And one night I saw the Prophet ﷺ in a dream. And he said to me, ease knowledge, watta al-ilm, for the people. Make knowledge easy for the people. So he named it Muwatta. طيب? Another reason why he named it Muwatta is because, as he says, I presented this book of mine to 70 fuqaha of Medina. Every one of them watta'ani, agreed with me on the book. So I named it Muwatta. Another reason is due to the Amir al-Mu'mineen also, the Khalif, Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. When he was visiting Imam Malik, he said to him, put together a book of hadith and make it easy for the people. So I called it Muwatta. And in this kitab, there are around 1,900 ahadith. And one of the special things about this kitab is that it has some of the shortest chains of hadith. Yani, what is a chain of hadith? A sanad. Where the author, he narrates where he got the hadith from and who that person got the hadith from until it reaches the Prophet. His ahadith are the shortest. Imam Malik, he takes the hadith from Nafi', who takes it from Ibn Umar, who took it from the Prophet. So in between Malik and the Prophet are how many people? 2. These are the shortest asanid that we have. The thuna'i asanid. The asanid that have only 2 people in between the author. Okay? طيب. Another thing that we need to mention about this book before we end. Imam al-Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he said about this kitab, there is nothing on earth after the Quran, after the book of Allah, more asah, more authentic than Kitab Malik, than the book of Imam Malik. So I have a question to you all tonight. I thought the most authentic book of hadith after the Quran was Sahih Bukhari. Why is Imam Malik saying this about the Muwatta of Imam Malik? Who knows other than Abdullah? We say today, and we all agree on this, the Ummah agrees, the most authentic book after the Quran is Sahih al-Bukhari. Why does Imam al-Shafi'i say Imam Malik's Muwatta? Go ahead, Abdullah.
Because Imam Bukhari was not alive at
Imam al-Bukhari was not born at that time. طيب? So if you ever see this, that's why Imam al-Shafi'i said this. Because Imam al-Bukhari was not even born at the time. But if Imam al-Shafi'i saw Sahih al-Bukhari, no doubt he would have said that that is the most authentic book. طيب? So Imam Malik rahimahullah, towards the end of his life, he got sick. And he passed away in Medina in the year 179 after Hijrah. He was born when? 93. And he passed away in 179. So he was 86 years old when he passed away. And he was buried in al-Baqi, the graveyard there, near the Prophet's Masjid. So we will end here, inshallah. Wa sallallahu wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.